Hello everyone, you're watching the Footy Mailbag. My name is Damo and the team picker for Supercoach Plus subscribers opened up on the 17th, so just a few days ago, and I figured I'd go through the early version of my team. I've been planning my 2026 team since pretty much the season finished, so I don't know how many changes I'm going to make to this, but obviously a lot can happen between now and the season opening, and obviously we've got the buys and rookies and all that to cement themselves as well. So without further ado, we're going to start in defence, and the most expensive defender, but I think if his role continues the way it was towards the back end of last season, I think he's going to be a really good buy, even at an elevated price. Nazaya Wanganeen Malera. So, yes, he is part of opening round, and so he has that pesky early buy, but I think with the role that he was playing towards the back end of last season and just the class of the player as well, I think at $622,000, he is going to be a good pickup. Now, the next guy I'm going to pick up, a lot of people have been going for Connor Rosie or Lockie Ash in a similar sort of price range, but I'm going for Jordan Clark, and I know they recruited Judd McVie, so he might have less responsibility for rebounding across that half-back line, but I think Jordan Clark is going to go up another level again. Just last season, we saw how good he could be in certain games, and he was even getting around a tag towards the back end of last season. So I think that he is going to be a good starting player and early buy free, and a really good buy around later in the season, in the middle of the season for the Dockers. So he is my D2 at this early stage. Now, my D3 is going to be Colby McKercher. I think his post-buy scores last season were incredible, and I think if he continues in that half-back rebound with a bit of midfield time role that he had at North Melbourne in the back end of last season, I just think he's going to be a no-brainer. And I've gone for a fourth premium type player at D4, and that is Miles Bergman. If the reports are true, in the preseason he's been training as a midfielder. He had lots of success there before he succumbed to injury and had to sit out the rest of the season. I think at 447k, he might be a little underpriced for the output that we get from him. So he is the last premium on that line. The rookies, obviously rookies can change. I'm not married to any of these guys, really. You've just got to wait for round one teams and preseason to unfold before we can. But I really like Jacob Farrow with his dual position as well, available as a midfielder. I think the way the Essendon squad is shaping up, all of their draftees are going to have big roles, but none more than Jacob Farrow coming off halfback. I think him across from Archie Roberts is going to be a really, really potent pair, and Jacob Farrow at 163k, I have no doubts he's going to play every game that he's available once his debut is earned, which is hopefully at round one. And then to go with him is brand new Eagle Josh Lindsay. He is a Rolls Royce coming off that half-back line, and he will be the main distributor for West Coast. Sounds like Tom McCarthy is going to get a bit of midfield time, so Josh Lindsay is going to be that guy coming off half-back, and with his laser precision kicking, he's going to be a top scorer for them some weeks, and an excellent money maker with his role at half-back. And then on the bench, I've just gone for Jai Sarong. He got traded from from Hawthorn to Sydney, and he's going to have a role, rebounding third tall sort of role there for Sydney. And then I really like Lockie Carmichael that got picked up by the Western Bulldogs with their first pick. And I actually think he could be one of the better rookies at this price, especially in defence. So that's my back line. If we move into the midfield now. Now, I I don't love going without Marcus Bontempelli. He's the most expensive player at $706,000, but it's a lot of money to pay. So I've gone for the next guy, Zach Butters. He's in a contract year. I'm not worried about his injury history. He came back and was still one of the top midfielders by average for the year. I think he's going to really want to earn his next paycheck, whether that is at Port Adelaide or another club, and I'm just locking and loading him, especially without the early buy, not part of opening round, and a really friendly buy in the middle of the season as well. Pairing him up with Jordan Dawson, the captain of the Adelaide Crows, honestly, my M2 could be anyone. I'm considering quite a few players. Matt Rowe's got a really nice early part of the fixture. Nick Dacos is another one that you're going to want in your team at some stage, and Noah Anderson as well. Same situation as Matt Rowe. You probably want at least one of them in your team by the end of the year, so why not start with them? It's the early buy that is kind of scaring me off there a little bit. I don't want too many of those players, especially considering the next guy I'm picking up is Finn Callaghan, who does have the early buy. I thought his back end to last season was really good. He had that low patch where he was coming back from injury and where he was still trying to find his feet, but his back end to the season, he was on the wing, in the midfield, cross half back, cross half forward, and he was scoring any which way and had a really, really good season. And he still played 20 games, so he didn't actually miss as many as a lot as you would have thought, considering the injury that he's had to sit out with. Next in line for me is Errol Goulden. Only played 10 games last season, but I would have started him last season if it wasn't for that preseason ankle injury that ruled him out for more than half of the season. He is going to be an excellent pickup in Supercoach, but again, another player with the early season buy, but I think he is one who could sit above that 600k threshold and be one of the top mids for the season. And then coming in at a discounted price is Hayden Young. Injury history is a problem, but we've seen that when he gets going, he is the Dockers' most important midfielder apart from Brayshaw and Sarong. And he gets the ball moving. He's a big body. He's tough. His kicking is awesome. The way he runs is awesome. 389k. He doesn't have to be a top performing midfielder by the end of the season, but I reckon he is at least 100 to 150k underpriced, which is why I am starting him. And then the rest of the midfield is going to be filled out with rookies. So I don't really want to go for Xavier Dersma, but he's going to have the job security. Sorry, Willem Dersma, I should say. But he's going to have the job security, and he's going to be given the opportunity to cement himself in that Eagles side. But he was a utility. He was framed as a utility in his draft year, and that means he essentially played all over the ground wherever he was needed, and he was good in those positions as well. But he's probably going to start on the wing. He's very slightly built. I just think you could possibly go without him until you see the kind of role he's going to get. Pretty easy pivot to go to him, especially if you're a bit more happy to start with Zeke Hewland, who, well, he's probably going to start on the wing, but that's probably kind of where he was in the VFL anyway, and he performed really well there. So yeah, Zeke Hewland is going to be in my midfield to begin with. So is Daniel Annable. How does Brisbane fit in this guy? I'm interested to see, but I don't think he will be in the VFL. I think he will get a go from the beginning, and Shout out to coaches panel for having Dylan Alexander. Dylan follows draft on his channel because he thinks Dylan Annabelle will go off half back, and it makes sense for him, and it probably means that a guy like a Gideon Coleman, who is coming back from injury, might perhaps not come back straight away, but with 23 on the bench, you just never know. So Dan Annabelle in that position for now, but once again, rookies are not locked in. They're so far from being locked in. It's not funny, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them. But I do think Dyson Sharp needs to be locked in at this early stage. He is going to be massive in that Essendon midfield, and I think he should be locked in at this early stage. And then the bench is just going to be filled out with rookies. Jagger Smith missed last season with an ACL. He's going to come back and be so important for Carlton this season. They were really high on him and then gutted when he did his ACL. So he's going to have some big expectations this season, but I think he will rise to them and be really good for them. And then I also really like Kai Fincher and also mature age recruit that got picked up at Sydney, Billy Cootie. So that's my midfield. There, like I said, the rookies can chop and change many times, but at the moment, this is the mix I'm going for. Don't look at the rookies for too long. They might change. They might be totally different in 2 to 3 months' time when the season actually begins. Moving to the ruck line, pretty simple. Tristan Sherry and Luke Jackson. I think both of those guys are going to really benefit from the new ruck rules, especially with Luke Jackson also training as a midfielder at Dockers training. So the fact that he's going to be a ruck mid-forward kind of player, I think that's going to really help his scoring. New ruck rules really help him in that respect. And then on my bench is new recruit taken from the Fremantle Dockers, Liam Reedy. He's going to pair up with Mark Pitney early, and then I've had Carlton people tell me they expect him to have fully taken over the role by about round 6 or 7. So he's going to be a good money maker and possibly season-long bench cover on in Supercoach, which is really good for us at 119k. Forward line's a little difficult this season, but luckily we do have Harry Sheasel, who qualified as a forward, dual position mid-forward. I think you just set and forget Harry Sheasel. And then the next player you just have to set and forget is Sam Flanders. Crossed from Gold Coast, went to Sydney, St Kilda, and he is going to be really big in that midfield for them. My F3 at the moment is Sam Draper, ruck forward dual position. He's going to be the main ruck for Brisbane, but coming off an Achilles is something to watch, but they're really confident that he will be available for round 0 and maybe even the preseason games as well. So I really like him at $396,000. Could be a little underpriced at that price point as well, especially considering he's priced at about 73 and averaged 91.6 in 5 games last season for Essendon before he crossed over to Brisbane. Some cheapies I'm going with. Well, Gold Coast took a punt and paid almost nothing for Jamara Ugle-Hagan. If he gets the nod to start round 1, I think he is a no-brainer at 214k. Pure moneymaker sort of person, but at 214k, I just think I just think he would be a lock in most sides at that price. The next guy that I'm putting in my team is Todd Marshall. Remember a few years ago, Charlie Comben moved from forward to defence and was one of the top money makers for that season. Well, Todd Marshall is going to do the same thing at Port Adelaide, and I think at 147k, almost 148k, he is going to be a really shrewd pickup. But once again, early preseason, need to keep watch. And then a guy that I think is going to get more opportunity as the year goes on for this club, it's Sid Draper. I have gone double Draper in the forward line. Sid Draper, 126k. I really like him to get a bit of a role in that Adelaide midfield. They tried for Clayton Oliver. They tried for George Stevens. They were in the race for Christian Petrarca. Didn't quite get either of them. So I think Sid Draper is the next guy in line that they can turn to, who was already at the club. So at 126k, I'm really happy with him at $126,000. But once again, and I keep saying it, rookies aren't locked in. Don't need to pay too much attention to them. Don't need to talk too much about them. On the bench, I'm just going for Devon Robertson, moved from Brisbane to West Coast as an SSP signing. A lot of people aren't really expecting Robertson, Schonberg, McRae, those three fellas that they picked up for those extra rookie spots to play all that much. But West Coast have been into Robertson for a few years now. So it wouldn't surprise me if he does get a role straight away. I don't know where he fits in the 23, but I think he's the one most likely out of those three guys to get a role. And considering they've been after him for a few years, it wouldn't surprise me if it's from round one and quite prominent at that. So 119k, available as a forward as well. Previously, only a midfielder or dual position. So a bit of a gift for us there, and possibly will earn dual position as well, given the type of player and type of role he plays at the AFL level. And then a bit of a bolter for our forward lines, dual position, Leon Kickett. He's been lighting up Fremantle's preseason match sims. So I've got him as a 99k guy. Hopefully we get one or two 99k guys that pop up out of nowhere. Maybe it could be an SSP signing that hasn't got onto a club's list yet, or maybe one of these guys like a Leon Kickett, or even a Fred Rodriguez, or a Tyler Welsh, or I'm just reading some names out here, or a Noah Chamberlain, or someone like that pops up somewhere. But at the moment, I've got Leon Kickett in that space. Now, not a lot of money left for my flex, $191,000. So I'm just going to go with a club that's continuing to rebuild, continuing on their merry way with their massive draft hauls and doing really well with what they're doing. And I'm just going to put in that slot Sam Grill. So there he is there, dual position, defensive midfielder. Could be anyone. Once again, I'm going to keep saying it. Don't look at the rookies for too long. They could change. But yeah, so Wanganeen, Malera, Clark, McKercher, Bergman are my primos in defence. Butters, Dawson, Callahan, Gulden, and an underpriced Young in the midfield. Tristan Sherry, Luke Jackson, set and forget in the ruck line with Liam Reedy on the bench. And then my forward line, Sheasel, Flanders, and Draper with Ugle-Hagan, and the other Draper is there as well. The rest, it could chop and change so many times, but I've gone without the Willem Dersma, just unsure of his role and his scoring prowess at West Coast. And then there's a few other guys I'm probably missing, but that will all shake out before now and the season beginning. So thank you for watching. Hopefully we do more video content throughout 2026 for you, but this is my team picker first draft or early draft. Remember to subscribe to us here, but also follow us on socials at The Footy Mailbag. Our first pre-season podcast episode will come out in early January. TheFootyMailbag.net will have articles all throughout the pre-season and the season, so make sure you keep clicking back there and clicking on that 2026 tab. Thanks for watching.